Hello, today's tutorial is on Garland pose Malasana. This pose is a hip opener. It involves the external rotation of the hips. It stretches out the inner thighs, the adductors, hamstrings, glutes, and also the spine to keep your spine straight. It involves also ankle mobility as that's required in order to bring your heels down to the ground. Now let's first start with a demonstration of this pose. It can be entered into it in many ways, and one way is from standing. So we can have our feet actually pointing 45 degrees diagonally to the sides and feet hip width apart. So keep our spine straight. We inhale, bring our arms up above the head, drop the shoulders so that they're not flaring out, and exhaling, we squat down. We can apply very gentle pressure of the arms against the legs in order to help the hips open even more. And we can have our hands in prayer at the heart. Keep your spine straight. And this is Garland pose. Now let me talk about very common mistakes in this pose. The one most common mistake is actually the rounding of the back. But it's understandable because most of the time students do this because of a lack of mobility and flexibility. So they end up doing something like that. Okay, so we have to make sure that we keep the spine open so that we can open our chest in this position. So let me talk about modifications. I know most students find it difficult to actually sit down in this position, squat down in this position, because it's actually a very deep squat. So one most common way to modify this pose is to make use of blocks. So you can sit on a block and let's see how you feel. And if you feel fine in this, you can try to see if you can squeeze your glutes and lift off and see if you can hold it there. Okay? And if this is not high enough for you, you can add another block. So it depends on your level, where you're at. It's the same over here. If you need to lift off, it's the same. Okay? Well, this way is from the ground up. Another way is, of course, when it's difficult to go deep down into a pose, you just squat down to wherever you can be, because that's just how most poses work. So from here, we inhale, shoulders down. Exhaling, we try to squat. And wherever you are at, wherever you stop at, is where you are at. So if you're unable to go down deeper, that's fine. You just stay in this position and you hold it. And it works your quads muscles so much more. It's so much more strengthening if you're higher up anyway. So just stay at where you are at. Okay? Actually, another way is if this is difficult for you and you would like to stay low anyway, one other way is to be on the balls of your feet. But this method actually does not work that much on the ankle mobility, as you're actually bringing the heel of the feet up. Okay, this is one option that you can try. Otherwise, if you wish anyway to try your best to bring your heels down to the ground, you can make use of a cushion, a blanket, or even a lower block. Okay, so in this way, you can have support for your heels. So with that ankle mobility that you might find it difficult to bring your heels down to the ground, you can put your heels on a low surface, and then you can do Garland pose. Okay, so that's support. And keep your spine open. One other way, actually, is to make use of the wall. As with many poses, you can make use of the wall. So let me show you this to try to see if you're able to lower down. So let's just bring your back a comfortable distance to the wall, actually against the wall. And we are going to do the same thing, just that this time you just kind of try to lower, pushing your back against the wall and seeing if that helps you, okay, to come down with having support, because I know sometimes that lack in ankle mobility might make it easier to lose balance in this position. So one way is to push against a wall and try to go as deep as you can. And if you work without a wall and you're having difficulty balancing because of the issue of ankle mobility, instead of having your hands in prayer, you can always have your hands trying to support you so that you don't lose balance. Okay? So, but always keep your spine straight. So if you need to put your hand on a block, if you're higher up, always modify, put blocks around you, okay? And then if your heels do not touch the ground, you're up here. And then if you're trying to balance, you can always put your hand on a block, okay? To help you balance. And now let me talk about the positioning of the feet. Now, at the beginning I said, put your feet around diagonally 45 degrees. But as you know, everyone's bodies are different. And so there should not be a single rule that applies to every single person because our bone structures are all different. So at the end of the day, please do what feels best for you, whether it be shifting your feet slightly inwards or even more outwards, okay? And that applies also to the position of the feet, whether it is more towards hip width apart or even wider. So please do the thing that is right for you and your body. If you feel comfortable in this position, and even if your feet position is not the usual alignment, but just work on the variation that can help you reach the goal that you're looking for, which may be more mobility, more flexibility. And that is the goal of yoga. Okay, so keep our spine straight, stay in this position, and this is the end of the tutorial. I hope you found this useful, and I look forward to seeing you for the next tutorial. Namaste.